Live. It's Empire State of Baseball, episode number 46 on this Monday, May the 15th, 2023, airing exclusively on Twitch and powered by StreamYard. And we are back. It is Empire State of Baseball. It is Monday. Another weekend of New York baseball, and depending on what side of the town you're in, either you're feeling good about your team or you're feeling really bad about your team. So, Khoury, how we doing today, man?
Pretty bad about my team. I was doing good until about 4:05 today. Again, the Mets this year with the schedule, every game, it seems like half the games fall during the workday. Thank goodness, because there's nothing good to watch. I'd rather be working than watch this crap team right now. Terrible, not happy with the Metropolitans. So I know we'll get into a lot more of that a little later. But Joe, what are your thoughts here with the Mets today and just in general, life in general?
Yeah, you kind of thought they were starting to come out of it if they won today. And, you know, there goes David Peterson basically just squashing your hopes and enthusiasm for the next few days like a bug. So, you know, it's rough, but again, still early in the season, and we'll see what happens the next few weeks. But, you know, rough day.
Tom, how you feeling?
Listen, if there's anything that's worse than the Mets this past week is having an 8-month-old who's going through teething. So it's been rough, a little sleepy here. Girl's going through it, but we're fighting through. She's a little fighter. I'm just exhausted because she's been screaming for, I don't know, 2 days, 3 days straight. So
fun fact.
What do you think of your
where we're
baseball
at.
team?
What?
Tom, what do you think of your baseball team?
Oh, they're fine.
I'll tell you what, though.
I mean, it's definitely temperament right now because I think when we talked last week on the show, we're going to get into it in a little bit. The Yankees needed to tread water by beating up on Oakland and splitting with the Rays, and that's certainly what they did. So we're going to get into that.
What it really feels,
bit.
yeah. I'll say if you want an actual take on it, it feels a lot like the Houston series last year, which I think was also a 4-game set in New York, where the Yankees split, and it just kind of felt like such a big moment, and then like after, I don't know, a little bit of like a letdown. So we'll see. I mean, they're leading the Blue Jays right now, and frankly, if the Blue Jays lose to this Yankee team today with this horrible lineup and then throwing Cordero and then Brito, they should just be contracted. They honestly might as well just contract the Blue Jays and just disperse those players to other teams, because it's embarrassing if you're going to lose to this Yankee lineup today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but I'll get into my actual takes of the Yanks in a little bit. But I'm with you though that does have that Houston midseason kind of look to it. But good things happening with the Yankees overall. Now the lineup card. We'll deep dive into the Yankees and our Bronx is burning in just a few. Then we got Chooch's pick of the week, the revamped Chooch's pick of the week, and we're gonna have a little bit more of a visual presentation for you all for Chooch. So that'll be fun. Then we got the Queen's Gambit, and Khoury alluded to before, a lot of frustrations happening in Queens right now following the Mets loss to the Nationals today.
I can't. I'm just going to sit back I'm going to sit back. I wish I had popcorn just to see
among
what
the
color.
other sub 500 teams that the Mets have lost to over the last few weeks.
From
we'll get into that. And our man Core returns for. Can I do the damn lineup, Tom?
No.
Can I get through this? Damn it! It's 4 minutes in. Let me just get through the lineup. Lastly, Core's curriculum is back, so our man Core will return to give us some brain twisters in baseball, little MLB trivia later on tonight to cap off the show. Your boy has the lead right now in the game standings. I plan on keeping it that way, but Core's got some Mets-related trivia later on tonight, so we're looking forward to that. So let's get into the Yanks, though, to start off the show. Bronx is burning. I know, Tom, you started to really get into it with the Yanks.
Sure
but
did.
I will say,
you yelled at me. We were doing updates, and then
I yelled at you because I'm in the middle of doing a lineup card. All right, now go.
Before that, you yelled at me. So at first, I'd like you to apologize for being such a dick, and then we can move on.
Well, his name is Rich.
Yeah.
Rays split with the Yankees 2-2. Outside of the Thursday loss, I mean, we're talking about 6 out of 7 tough fought games for the Yankees against the best team in baseball. I know I mentioned that already in my River Ave Rewind yesterday, which you check out on Instagram. But the Yankees seem to have some life now, Tom. They're playing better ball. Anthony Rizzo's really led the charge. He just won the AL Player of the Week honors, according to MLB. So a lot of good things happening for the Yankees. And you would have thought, like, following the Oakland series, which they smashed the Oakland A's, it's going to be tough to follow that up and face then Tampa Bay. And yet the Yankees gave them the best fight they could and took 2 out of the 4 games at the stadium. I think we could sign up for that and feel good about that moving forward, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the tenor of our show last week and how down we were and how the Yankees have been playing really poorly for a few weeks now, to split with Tampa, like you said, Thursday, poop show. But the other games they could have, they won 2 of the next 3. They could have won Sunday. They should have won Sunday, and they could have won all 3 games, frankly, in Tampa. So I think it's a good sign. The team got life back. We're getting Judge back. Rizzo getting hot. I love getting Volpe out of the leadoff spot. I think he just wasn't performing there. Like, you can't have a leadoff guy who's just not getting on base. It wasn't working. But get a little bit of pressure off him. He seems to be hitting better since they moved him out of the spot. He just had a double
batting average
day
over his last 7 days. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, he's heating up a little bit, which you like to see. Yeah, that it's better. It's about as good as I feel like you could have expected in that stretch.
Now, Joe, again, love going to the contrarian point of view here. Should Yankee fans feel too optimistic about what's been going on in the Bronx?
A little bit, only because the Rays didn't really get hurt by splitting it with the Yankees. It is a morale boost for the Yankees. I think the Yankee fans should feel a little bit good. They didn't lose any extra ground to the Rays. They're already behind the 8 ball. They did get Judge back. Judge did hit 2 home runs yesterday. I believe he just hit a home run about 20 minutes ago today. So it looks like Judge is back, and it looks like, more importantly, Judge's bat is back to form, where you really weren't seeing that before Judge went on the IL. He was kind of part of this middle-in offense for them. So I think from that perspective, and the perspective that you have Severino coming back, you have a couple of these guys that look like they're starting to get healthy. So the Yankees do have some optimism. But the other thing is, you have 3 teams in front of you at the moment, and 2 of them, if you went around and polled, are probably, most people would say, are better teams than the Yankees are as currently constructed, in terms of Toronto and the Rays. So
we'll see on that.
We obviously will see. It's a long season, but I still think the Yankees, if you took 3 out of 4, you would have felt really good, or swept, you would have felt even better. But there's reasons to be optimistic as a Yankee fan, but at the same time, I wouldn't get overly saying we're back. We're
I don't think Yankee fans are, though. I don't think the vibe of Yankees Twitter, or just Yankee fans in general, is saying like, all right, we're gonna win the division now. We just proved we can. I think the Yankees prove that they're better than they've been. But I don't think anyone is putting this team in the ALCS right now. It's a long season. Look where we were last year at this time. The Yankees were on pace to be the greatest team in baseball history, just like the Rays are on pace to be the greatest team in baseball history. We knew that wasn't going to last last year, and the Rays aren't going to last out on this pace. They're a good team, but they're not going to continue at this exact level. So we'll see. They're going to fall back to the pack. The AL East is an absolute dogfight, as it always is. It seems like this is probably the hardest it's ever been. We'll see. There's a lot of baseball left to play.
That's why I'm going to segue this question over to Khoury Favs for this one, because it's almost peculiar. You almost never see the Yankees in a scratch and claw kind of feel, where you did see that great start that they had last year, and they could have easily lost that lead, but didn't look back. Once they got into a stretch, you don't see a lot of Yankee teams like this, kind of like scratch and claw their way back to the top. So In terms of baseball teams, and you look on the Mets side of things, when they're going to try to scratch and claw as well. Is this a weird position for the Yankees to be?
Definitely a position that I'm not used to in my 31 years in existence, because usually the Yankees are sitting right there near the top. If they ever hit their weak point, it seems to be like maybe that August stretch where they come out a little cold and then they end up doing fine in September, making the postseason. But honestly, right now, if you're a Yankee fan, you got to be feeling really good here, because just 2 weeks ago, we had an episode, Rich, where I know it was the three of us at the time, and you had a lot of strong words to say against this Yankee team. And really, since then, they've started to turn it around. And that Monday, we actually had a poll. And that poll was who's got to be the player to step up while a lot of these guys are out. And I'll tell you who I voted for. It was the write-in for me, Harrison Bader. How about Harrison Bader coming in here? 42 at-bats. Dude is hitting an OPS over 1.021, hitting a 333 average. Now, is he going to hold that over the course of the season? Absolutely not. But Harrison Bader was the reason why you had a little bit of life in the playoffs. I mean, he was red hot in the playoffs here. He's helped you claw back in the last couple of weeks. You made up 2 games since last week. Again, you're still 8 games back. As Joe mentioned before, there's still quite a few teams ahead of you. But honestly, I'm going to make a bold prediction here. I think the Yankees sweep Toronto. You're going to jump Toronto this week. I won't be shocked if this time next week Yankees are in second place. This time next month, Yankees are right up there with the Rays within 3 games of the division.
Wow.
Love that out of you, Khoury.
Cool.
And look at Joe. It hurts Joe so much.
Yep. And the only reason I have to say that is history repeats itself. And if there's one thing I've learned about being a Mets fan, the Yankees always find a way to come back. And Aaron Judge right now is doing exactly what you want your captain to do too, because he is lighting up a fire with that team right now. The biggest win of your season was this past Saturday when Judge had 2 monster home runs to help the Yankees come back. That's called the captain taking charge of his team. And I wish the Mets had a captain right now who could do the same. The Yankees will be within 3 games of division when we do this show in June.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Notice that was Khoury saying that, not Tom or I.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not.
I think that Corey's overcompensating for his pessimism with the Mets, and listen. The Yankees are going to be competitive. There's too many bad teams in the AL that the Yankees are just going to beat up on. We know that the Rays did that for the first few weeks, but at the same time, the Yankees have a lot of weaknesses on this team right now. Their bullpen is suspect at best. The back end of the rotation is a problem. And outside of Judge, it is a weak lineup. I mean, this is an inconsistent lineup. Injuries are a big, big question mark for the Yankees right now. They've only gained 2 games back on the Rays since we had this conversation last week. So it's not like they've gained 5 games in a week. This is going to be a dogfight, and I just don't know if the Yankees can come from behind. Usually when they win the division, they win from ahead. They start out ahead. They're not really a comeback kind of organization. They're just not used to being in that situation. Minus,
I love the Yankees. I love that the Yankees bullpen is suspect. They have the 4th best bullpen ERA in the league.
Come on. Yeah, again, Tom, we could go over this. Who do you trust with your life on the line in the 9th inning?
Wandy.
There's nobody you trust out there.
I trust Wandy.
You're out of your mind. You trust Wandy Peralta?
I should do.
With your
that little lefty psycho? Absolutely.
Wandy Peralta to get the final 3 outs.
Sure do.
But hang on. Wait, hold on a second. I'm going to defend that question, Joe, and I'm going to turn it around to you. Who would you which closer in baseball right now? Your life's on the line, saving a game for you. Who you choosing? Because honestly, there's not a single one that I choose.
There's not many, but
Peralta's
never closed before, and you're acting like you.
There's not a single closer in baseball that I would depend on.
Yeah, closing doesn't have a prerequisite
not a closer. The Yankees, we've been through this. The Yankees have a fine bullpen of high leverage guys, and none of them can close. I completely understand that, but please tell me in baseball right now, who are you depending on shutting down the 9th inning?
You wouldn't take Josh Hader?
Yes.
Did you see Josh Hader pitch last year?
You wouldn't take Emmanuel Clase?
Yes.
Did you see Emmanuel Clase pitch this year?
I'm just saying.
But Joe,
They have a track record of doing it.
Guys, like
of course, Diaz would be the obvious answer, but he's hurt.
Yeah, but Joe, but the point still is like the time of like there being 15 or 20 like legit like hand the ball over in ninth inning closers doesn't exist anymore. It is very much bullpen by committee, and it's matchups and it's lanes. And listen, the Yankees don't have a true closer, but they have a lot of good arms down there. Some of them have given up some
that's the new age
bad innings recently, but I still trust them a lot more.
When you get to a game when these guys have limited closing experiences, where the adrenaline
that's everyone
through the roof.
That's everyone.
But you need something to draw from, and you can't rely on Wandy Peralta to be your savior in September against the Rays when you're trying to chase down a division.
If your closer is your savior,
you can say that the ERA in the bullpen is doing fine, but we have seen several times that the Yankee bullpen has let them down this year. The reality of the situation is you're 8 or 8.5 games back, and the bullpen's been part of that problem, whether you like it or not.
No, they haven't. They have the
all the way till the end
in the
blow a save. It doesn't matter what your ERA is.
Oh, right.
Two pitchers have been really struggling for the Yankees and blown these games. Clay Holmes, Albert Abreu. Outside of that, the Yankees bullpen up and down is pretty solid.
Though.
Now,
when it's supposed to be the guy in your bullpen,
he shouldn't be the guy.
He
shouldn't be the guy.
Well, the good thing with the bullpen is there's always going to be guys available come the deadline, so you could tread water through July with your bullpen and make a couple of additions. I mean, you could always see guys, bad teams, relievers are hot and cold. I mean, you could get a nice guy like an Aroldis Chapman who has closing experience for a bad Royals team right now. But look at that on a more serious note, though. Look at the Phillies last year. They didn't have the best of bullpens. They went out, got David Robertson. I would have loved the Mets to get David Robertson last year at the trade deadline. Phillies ended up getting him. He pitched in big games. The team went to the World Series. There are acquisitions you can make. I'm not worried at this juncture with the bullpen just because we're in May and not in August. But if this is the same bullpen come August, then there's a little bit reason to worry because you don't want situations like last playoffs where Clark Schmidt is coming in the 9th inning, 10th inning in the most important spots of playoff games.
That was a bad decision.
Oh, terrible decision.
There was other,
yeah.
And again, if it comes down to needs, it's an early conversation. At this point, I'd still rather have a left fielder than a closer right now.
Yeah.
The Yankees still don't have a viable left fielder at this rate. They're running out Jake Bauers. Fine. It's not going to last. Oswaldo Cabrera is versatile. He's a utility guy. IKF, same deal. They don't have a left fielder. And they went into the season going with this left field by committee almost. And it hasn't worked out. Aaron Hicks is still employed for God's sake.
We'll get the Mingas up here by August, and we'll
I was mean on Josh Hader. Hader has a 1.06 ERA through 17 games this year. He's got 11 saves, so it looks like Hader's back. There's a handful. There's a handful of those guys.
Wandy Peralta has 11 saves in his career, and you're telling me you trust him?
Yeah, because I'm moving on from that. Joe is out of his mind. Is
31 years old.
Last point.
Absolute idiot. It's just so stupid. There's like 5 real closers in baseball. But then, what do you want? What do you want?
Yeah,
it's not stupid, but you can't tell me that you don't have a problem in your bullpen.
I'll take Wandy Peralta much more in the middle.
And that Wandy Peralta is your closer. He's got 2 saves.
He's not. I don't say he's our closer. Listen, he's been very good.
You just said Wandy Peralta's the guy you trust with your life on the line in the 9th inning.
Well, I had to choose. If I'm going to choose someone, I'm going to choose one guy. I'm going to choose Wandy Peralta.
And that's why you're going to lose.
I'm moving on, Rich. I'm moving on. Joe is being more of an idiot than usual, and I can't do it anymore.
It's not. It's the truth. I said the bullpen's a problem for the Yankees. You were like, you countered by saying Wandy Peralta is the guy. He's not. Come on.
As long as it's not Clay Holmes, because he's going to send you home.
The closer, if you're at the closer position, is a problem. The bullpen is not a problem. Again, you have high leverage relievers in this role. It's not only bullpen. You don't have 7 closers on the team, Joe. You have 1 closer, and the Yankees have none.
Yes, that's a problem. That the bullpen is a problem. You don't have a guy.
The Mets have a guy. We just can't get to it.
Joe wants to be Skip Bayless so bad. It's embarrassing.
On I appreciate your optimistic prediction of the Yankees taking 3 against Toronto. As much as I love to have that, I think the least thing I could say, if the Yankees could try to make a statement against the Blue Jays, even if it means just taking 2 out of 3 up north, I think it kind of shows you where this team has turned the corner. So
Yeah,
it'll be
I'll,
interesting
I'll take
if
that.
they can just keep this. If they can just keep this thing going, take the 2 out of 3, or if at the least keep these games competitive. Just keep playing the same brand of baseball you've been playing for the last week, and we'll move on from there. And everybody take a breath. Everybody calm down. Let's we'll move it forward. Joe, best way for our current viewers on Twitch to tell their friends to join us here on Twitch.
You can download the Twitch app and subscribe to Empire State of Baseball. Link is in our link tree on Instagram and Twitter. You'll get notified when our episodes go live, and you can follow the link right to the episode and stream it from there.
Of course. And it's all up on Linktree. We did a nice post on Instagram about Linktree and all the great ways to follow us, support us, check out all our multimedia. But sometimes it's hard to find that Twitch link. So unless you have it at your disposal already, and thank you for that, go to Linktree and you can find our link there. And that's the easiest way to get to the show. All right. Let's move on to Chooch's pick of the week. And Chooch has been running into some bad luck this year. He's yet to pull out his first win. He's 0-2-1. I gave him the 1 because he did have the Rays over the Pirates, but he said the Rays were taking 2 out of 1. Rays ended up sweeping the Pirates, so he gets the half credit. He doesn't get the full point on that. So
should get an L just for getting the amount of games wrong.
So it's 0-2-1. That's fine. Oh, well, yeah. Well, he got the games right here for this one. The 3-game set coming up between these two teams that he's about to touch on. Let's throw it over to Chooch for Chooch's pick of the week.
What's up, BSB crew? Chooch is back with Chooch's pick of the week. This week, we're going to start it off tonight for a 3-game set. We got the Braves versus the Rangers, 2 teams that are leading their respective division. The Braves out in the NL East, the Rangers out in the AL West, both having very good seasons. We got a 3-game set. I think Atlanta stays hot and bests Texas for 2 out of the 3 games. What do you guys think?
All right, so Chooch's pick of the week, and thank you, Matt, for the video submission for Chooch's pick. If you check out our Instagram, you can vote on the poll to see if you're agreeing with Chooch or not. So we'll start here with Khoury. How do you feel about Chooch's pick?
Listen, all I gotta say is this week, this matchup, I'm going with the Braves sweep. The Braves are the best team in the world when it comes to National League ball. The Braves are going to sweep this series.
Does anybody else get a power flicker?
No, I'm
Tom's
fine.
On mute.
Tom's on mute. Tom's on mute.
I was on mute. I was on mute because I sneezed. But yeah, I also got a power flicker, and Joe and I don't necessarily live next to each other, so pray for us.
EMP burst.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm going with Texas. I like the way Texas is open this year so far. They've been a pleasant surprise, maybe to everybody except for Texas. And there goes another one. Yep. So me and Tom might have problems here if this persists. But
must be a 2-man show.
Yeah.
But I like Texas in this one. They've been rolling. They've been playing good baseball. Bruce Bochy has still got it. I know people were, having issues with Bochy. They were thinking he was going to be too old, but man, he's got him playing good baseball. So I like Texas in this one.
I don't know if it's aliens or power outages around, but there might be some issues here. But Tom, what do you got in this one between the Rangers and the Braves?
Yeah, so I was thinking Braves, but just because Matt took them, I'm going to take the Rangers because, you don't bet on a known guy who's on a cold streak, and he might heat back up, but I'm not hitching my horse to that wagon. So we're going with the Rangers.
I'm taking Matt's pick. I'm with him this week. 2-1. Braves are going to beat the Rangers
you
this week.
You got to prove something to me, Matt.
Performance coming on Wednesday. Nathan Eovaldi, Spencer Strider. Eovaldi's been amazing this year. 5-2 at a 2.70 ERA and 56 strikeouts. If you don't have him in fantasy, trade for him. I'm sure there's an owner out there who's not paying attention anyway. So go get him. Eovaldi's been solid. Spencer Strider also, 2.51 ERA. That is a prime matchup, but I got Braves over Rangers.
Yep, I agree.
So I'll with Chooch. So
Braves have not
and
been playing well. So that's the other thing with that is the Braves have not been playing well. Matt Olson, I saw a stat say 60 strikeouts already this year.
Wow.
real wow.
Joe was
an
also watching the Mets earlier.
Well, I think
incredible
he
amount.
leads the league in strikeouts. I think Olson.
Yeah,
Right? He's up there.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's a lot. He's got what 120 at bats.
Wow. Yeah, about half your at bats.
That's
Strikeouts.
great.
Not good.
I got the exact number.
So wishing Chooch good luck here to get his first victory of the 2023 season. You can make sure to give him a follow at mtook45 on both Twitter and Instagram. And yeah, and of course, just check out the video of him. You obviously just saw the video now on Twitch, but you can check out his video again on our Instagram story and vote on the poll. All righty. Now that was Instagram, but I want to talk about Twitter, Tom.
Yeah, Twitter's still going there. If you want to follow any of us on Twitter, you can follow the show at ESB Podcast. You can follow Khoury at G Gory, Joe at JR Pugs, Rich at Rich J Rivera, and you can follow me at T Wospil. There's going to be, we also post a lot of our, not just our insights on games, but we have our recaps. We have baseball highlights. We just crossed over 1,500 followers, so thank you for those who follow. And here's to another 1,500, and then just on and on from there. It's been a fun ride on Twitter for sure. While Twitter, I guess, still exists for who knows how much longer.
I mean, Twitter's still kicking in there, especially Mets Twitter.
Oh, it's something.
Especially Mets Twitter. Queen's Gambit. Let's bring it back to the New York Metropolitans for the rest of our program here. Khoury, you did it. Khoury and Joe does a great. You guys do a great job of the Mets Minute, and I there's a part of me as a Yankee fan who sits there and is like, look at them struggle. But Joe and Khoury are my friends, and I just hate seeing them go through what they're going through right now. So, Khoury, how you doing, bud?
I have nothing else to say except just disbelief, disillusionment. I don't know how to describe it right now. We've had more power flickers on the show in the last 2 minutes than the Mets have had in the last 4 games. The Mets against the Nationals, a bottom tier team in baseball, 4-game set, didn't hit a home run. You want to know when the last time the Mets had a 4-game set without a home run? Michael Bloomberg was still the mayor of New York City. We skipped 2 mayors. Michael Bloomberg was in office. This Mets team right now can't do anything. And you want to talk about a joke. Every night I say to myself, let me put a few bucks back in FanDuel and bet the Mets to lose the first inning. The last 9 games, the Mets have given up a first inning run. 8 of the last 9 games, the Mets have been trailing from behind in the last 9 games. The only one that they didn't give up a run in the first inning was the game that they won yesterday. And what happened? They were still trailing, though. They put up an 8 spot in the 5th inning, which, I mean, that's why the aliens are here right now, because the Mets put up an 8 spot. But the Mets were still trailing in that game. You're constantly coming from behind. Today, David Peterson, you're better throwing off me out there. And I haven't pitched a baseball game since I was 8 years old. I'm better going out there on the mound than David Peterson right now. I'd rather them go with a bullpen opener than David Peterson. You're going to get the same inning pitched anyway. You might as well go with an opener. The Mets right now can't do anything right. The starting pitching sucks. The lineup sucks. They can't hit for power. They spent the most money in baseball, biggest payroll in the league, but the team is hitting like they're hitting worse than the Pirates. I'd rather have a $30 million payroll than $300 million if you're going to hit like this. The team sucks all around. Billy Epler, the most hated Billy in New York since Bill de Blasio. This is terrible right now. Not enjoying Mets baseball. It's still early. I keep telling myself the Phillies did it last year, but right now this Mets team makes me want to drink.
I think Joe. I think in respect, frankly, Joe shouldn't say anything. He should just let Khoury have that.
No, I mean Khoury's right on the money. Listen, they haven't been playing good baseball. Somehow they're only 6 games back, which is unbelievable. The Braves have hit a skid. The Phillies have not been playing good baseball as well. The Marlins and Nationals are incompetent in their own rights. So it's a weird feeling to be in this position, and the Mets are still very much alive and in it, just because the rest of the division hasn't played well themselves. So A big problem with the Mets is the starting rotation right now. They're just not getting consistency. David Peterson's the poster child for that. He's got about like a 9.9 ERA in his last 5 starts. He needs a trip to the minor leagues. Verlander is going tomorrow. Did have a good start his last time out. So looking to get a little bit more consistency there. Scherzer did pitch well the other day, but I think the Mets say no on that one.
Aaron Hicks has been on base twice today. So, for the record.
But listen, at the end of the day, the offense has been inconsistent too. It's hard to be consistent when you're consistently trailing from behind and forced to come back. That's a hard thing to do. That's a lot of pressure to put on the offense. But, this comes down to the fact that they have an enormous payroll, and the guys that they're paying a lot of money are not performing up to the level that they need to be. And there is no fix for that. There's no move that you can make. There's no trade that you can make that fixes that problem. Marte, Canna, Escobar, Vogelback, these guys have to play and perform. You can call for Mauricio and Vientos to come up all you want, but at the end of the day, if the guys that you're paying $20 and $12 million are not performing, are not hitting consistently, then you're not going to be a good team. And this kind of has the vibes of 2021, where you have a bunch of guys. You had McNeil and Conforto, and Nimmo was hurt, and Alonso, and all these guys had down years. And what happened? Your season was sunk. You cannot reshape the core of a team in the middle of May. So from the Mets, for me, it sucks. We're in a slide right now. We're not playing good baseball. But at the end of the day, we're only 6 games back despite all of that. And I feel like sooner or later, the team is going to turn the corner. I think it starts with getting a consistent run through the rotation. And then hopefully the bats start to wake up, because frankly, that's all you can hope for until the deadline.
I think honestly, some of this is, I don't want to say like it's not Steve Cohen's fault, but it's the result of kind of bringing in Steve Cohen buying the team, where he went out and got the best players he could at the time. The problem is a lot of those best players just aren't very good players. If you're hitching your wagon to a Mark Canna, to Vogelback, to build a real winning team takes a long time. And the Mets, listen, he threw all the gas on the fire with all that money, but there wasn't the right guys out there for him. And like Joe said, they're stuck with some of these guys who really just aren't very good. Like a Mark Canna and Escobar, like they're decent, they're good players. They're like a little bit above average players. They're not guys who are going to go out and win a division for you. You really need that from Lindor and Alonso. Even a guy, in my opinion, like Nimmo and McNeil play above their talent level. They've been very good, but they're not your typical all-star stud players. So
they're all-stars because they do everything well,
but
nothing exceptional.
Exactly. So it's and even like the pitching staff, like in the past, we'll bring in like a Carrasco and stuff. Like these are guys who are like, oh, they're fine. But I think the Mets is to try to get them where they want it to be is going to take a long time. Look what the Braves have done and built like a roster through the minors and signing smart, making smart moves. The Mets just didn't have the chance to really do that. If Vogelback is like your DH, I don't
listen.
I mean, about that.
Here's the other thing, and I know Epler's getting a ton of heat right now. This isn't Epler's fault here. I will challenge any Met fan to go back in the last offseason and the last trade deadline and tell me the player that Epler failed to acquire or failed to sign that
you're just repeating what I just said.
That was realistic. It's not like Carlos Correa's lighting it up. He's the worst shortstop in the league this year.
Well, that was a blessing in disguise.
I mean, where would we be if he was playing third base? And
you don't know that.
So
you don't know if he's here. That's all different.
John's saying in the chat to sign Schwarber. Schwarber is batting $190 right now. It's not like he would have helped this team right now either. The problem is the Mets went through years of turnover at the GM position. Cohen took over probably a year too late to save a guy like Wheeler. He could have saved a guy like Wheeler and re-signed a guy like Wheeler to be an anchor in the rotation. That probably would have prevented you from having to sign one of these other guys. There was a couple of things, but they were past. You know, what we clamoring for Conforto to be back. The Epler model, Epler hasn't had enough time. They've signed guys. They have not signed guys attached to qualifying offers except for Verlander. And I don't think anybody would argue that that was a bad sign-in. It's just
it's a risky sign-in.
The team is missing a core piece or two. Maybe that becomes Beatty and Alvarez, and that turns the team around. But these guys are rookies. They're not going to be ready to be that kind of player this year. So this is what we have. And at the end of the day, sometimes guys have down years. You know, he tried to make every position on this team a professional position. I think he accomplished that, but we're just not getting the offensive production that we need out of guys that are immovable at this particular point in time.
And I think when it comes to Billy Epler, this is what I got to say with it. I mean, did you put a major leaguer at every position? Yes, but literally all of them are failing or are just mid. Nobody that he's acquired, with the exception of Robertson and Ottavino, I'll give him those two. Literally, every other player he's brought in is below expectations. I'll give you Marte last year, too. Marte last year was an awesome pickup, but this year, he's probably one of the biggest reasons why this Mets lineup is so bad, because he was supposed to be your two-hitter guy who's going to hit doubles in the gap constantly, speed, power, threat. He's been underperforming. Escobar underperforming. Canna underperforming. Vogelbach, Tommy Pham. John said it in the chat right now.
Well, you can't expect those type of players to be great all the time. Even a Starling Marte, who is like a fine player, he's not like a world beater.
Now, here's the thing, though, and Cohen's a businessman. He's a businessman. You bring in a bad guy or two, you cut bait and you replace that person. But it's different when literally every person you bring in is underperforming. And whether it's bad luck,
those guys performed last year, and that's what I'm saying. Canna hit 275 last year, was a stable force for them in the lineup. He's not performing this year. If you asked at the end of last year if Mark Canna was a good sign, you would have said he was a brilliant sign-in. You would have said he was a steal of the free agent class last year. He's just not performing this year.
Jump in here, Rich. Looks like you're ready. And
I almost
was not available.
I'm going to jump in, but I'm also just going to throw this question out to Khoury and Joe again, because just looking at it on my side of the house, it just seems like this organization, since it's been under Cohen, seems like a team. Obviously, it's an organization that's willing to sign a blank check, but your organization does not know or is afraid to trade.
Yeah, you're right. And the deadline last year is a perfect example. And you go and you get Darren Ruff and you trade up 4 guys. Now, granted, J.D. Davis was underperforming. Spudzik, whatever his name is, was a prospect who never lived up to the hype. I couldn't even tell you who the 2 other players are. But you gave up 4 guys for a guy who's been cut now by 3 teams in the last 3 months. I mean, terrible job trading. The Vogelbach trade, again, Vogelbach was not a bad player for the Mets. He's still not a terrible player, but you traded away a piece in Holderman, who, granted, in the second half last year did not do good. You traded away an asset at a weak position. The bullpen was a spot we needed to add to. You traded away one of your 3 best relievers at the time of the trade last year to mediocrely improve a DH spot. It's all about you have to find these diamonds in a rough. And the problem with Epler, and I said it last week and I'll say it today, it's not the 4 of us on this show are not GMs. We could play MLB The Show and do exactly what Epler did. Find the best rated overall players and give them more money than any other team. That's what Epler did. But he's not finding the diamond in the rough that puts him above the other GMs in the league. He's a mid-GM.
You guys know how to fill
unlimited payroll.
You guys know how to fill in positions with guys who have MLB credentials, where I can, and this is, again, bringing it back to the Yankees. The Yankees slam Cashman for a lot of the moves he's made, but they don't remember the moves that he's made that made him a genius. The Jose Trevino kind of trade. Give me another one, Tom. There's another one. The Wandy Peralta trade. Like those kind of moves. In the last 3 years, what diamond in the rough did the Mets find via trade? What crazy move did they make that no one expected was actually going to work out? And it did. Smaller move. Have they made one over the last 3 years? And can you credit the front office for being that creative? And I don't think you can.
Well, Epler, you gotta remember the Mets have had turnover at the GM spot. Epler only took over for the offseason in 2021. So he's really only had one trade down the line and one offseason under his belt. You know, this team won 101 games last year. They probably looked at it as we improve at the margins, we're going to be able to be successful by replicating last year's formula. So, okay, we could get on Epler last year about the trade deadline. I still hold, and listen, Holderman, again, has been a good pitcher. But at the end of the day, he hasn't had that much opportunity. And it wasn't like there was an enormous amount of talent available last year that you were going to go after. I mean, they weren't trading Juan Soto to you. They weren't trading Trey Turner to you a year before that.
There's sneaky moves, though, Joe. Those are blockbuster trades that, of course, the Mets didn't have a conversation in. But was there a sneaky move? Was there somebody that you're just not thinking about? Maybe Vogelback for Holderman, but Holderman seems to be doing pretty well for Pittsburgh.
Vogelback led all trade deadline acquisitions last year in OPS. I can't go crazy on it yet. And the Mets have come out and stated, we want to build it off of the Dodgers model. They have said, we are not trading our top prospects. And now your top prospects are here and you're going to have growing pains with them. But
they don't have to be creative.
But again, I haven't seen the player moved where I said the Mets struck out by not going to get him.
And you want to know what I say, though, with Epler, too? And at the end of the day, the players have to perform. So we'll give him that. But I think what's even more frustrating amongst Mets fans, myself included, it's the lack of urgency. There's no sense of urgency. Nobody is frustrated. Everybody's like, yeah, we're going to do okay. Oh, this is going to be fine. And there's a lot of Buck Showalter hate right now. I love Buck Showalter. I'm not on that hate train. But John Hernandez in our chat said himself, that Buck Showalter is not lighting fires on the guys. Now, this is a manager of the year candidate last year. I'm not going to bother him. But it's the lack of urgency amongst the coaching staff, amongst the front office, stuff, across all of the players. Your $300 million man would rather play baseball for Puerto Rico than the New York Mets, who gave him $300 million. This team has no sense of urgency, no fire. Say what you want about Terry Collins. At least the guy gave heart and soul every night. I do not like this acceptance of mediocrity. And it's time for the team to wake up. And I don't know who that guy is that's going to wake this team up. And that's where is it going to have to result in someone losing their job or a beloved player getting cut? Escobar, great teammate. Is he going to have to get cut for someone to realize, oh, crap, I actually have to worry about losing my job? Because that's the problem with the Mets right now. You could hit 200. It took Nito hitting 118. 118, and the guy was not in danger of losing his job. Michael Perez came up yesterday 4 for 4 in his first game of the season. Thomas Nito was not a threat to lose his job hitting 118. The acceptance of failure with the Mets right now is the most frustrating thing with me. I want to fire. I want someone to yell, who's going to throw the table in that team? Nobody.
But we don't know the discussions going on in the back room. But at the same time, you're going to cut a guy, whatever, like an Escobar making $10 million or a Pham, for example, who a lot of people are calling a cut, who's making $6.5 million. Cohen's going to turn around to Epler and say, well, why did I pay Pham $6.5 million for 2 months and for us to give up on him in May? And again, here's the other thing. If you cut 2 of these guys who are making big money and these 2 rookies come up and they don't work out, you have now destroyed your depth. Because when the rookies have to go back down, there's nobody to replace them. And not to mention, you're going to have 4 rookies in your lineup every single day trying to win.
If you're hitting 118 and 190, you're not going to win anyway.
You're expected to contend for the division. I can tell you for a fact there's no team in baseball
they can't contend for my garbage can right now.
That's going to contend for a division.
It blows my mind how Joe is just bending over backwards to defend this Met team right now.
No, it's
when
not.
the Yankees.
It's not defensible from a performance standpoint.
I don't know,
The
Joseph.
fans calling for Showalter to throw tables at lockers. I don't know what you want him to do. That's not going to get these guys to hit.
20 minutes ago, Joe said the Yankees bullpen is horrible and the fourth best ERA in baseball. But this Mets team, he's ready to talk about who do you want to pitch your life on the line. Joe, I think, just wants all these guys with his life on the line. My God, be critical of your team, my guy.
David Peterson's got to lose his job. Nito's already lost his job. But at the same time, there's only so many moves you can make. You cannot reshape a roster in May and Buck going to get thrown out for a play that's probably reviewable anyway. That's not going to do anything. You know, he knows that. He's been around long enough.
I'm gonna move it along. I mean, again, I think, and it was mentioned earlier, a major problem is you still have major players on this team that are just not performing to the back of their baseball card. You got to get them going. They're all called at the same time. And hopefully, again, as I mentioned last week, they're all called at the same time. At some point, they're all going to get hot at the same time. You hope that's sooner than later. And for Tom and I's sake, we hope that's starting tomorrow against Tampa Bay Rays for 3 games.
Yeah. Let's go Mets.
We're going to
go Mets. Let's
go Mets. Let's go Mets. Let's LFGM. Let's go Mets. Yeah. All right. So before we turn it over to core curriculum. Sure, Tom. Before we move to core curriculum, YouTube. Khoury, what do we got for the fans on YouTube?
If you'd like to watch our full episodes and all of our shorts and great clips that we have throughout the season, also the reels we have on Instagram, always make their way over to YouTube. Go ahead, download the YouTube app. Go follow Empire State of Baseball on YouTube. Again, all of our videos will be there. You'll see all of our shorts. If you just want to catch the best moments of the show, you'll find snippets there as well. So again, Empire State of Baseball on YouTube. It's the best way to watch all of our shows. If you want to find the link, as mentioned before, go to our Twitter. Our link tree is right there. You'll find all the links, including our YouTube page.
Yes, sir. And if you tune back to episode number 43 on YouTube, you would have caught the first installment of Core Curriculum as part of our new games for 2023. And with that said, as we pull up our game standings, it's time to bring in the host of Core Curriculum. Ladies and gentlemen, Core.
What's up, guys? I know we were talking about closers before. I feel like I might be closing out the show, am I not?
Yeah, there we
I would
go.
trust
See,
you with my life.
That's a closer I can depend on right here.
With my life.
Absolutely. Love it. Core, I know we're about to get into the trivia, but you're a huge Met fan, so I know there was a lot tossed out in the last 15 minutes. What quick takeaway on the Mets right now?
They're not a good baseball team, at least at present day. They're just not. I also don't know what there was to do in the last 18 months that would have made them better. Guys just got to play better. It's that simple. I don't know how you can do that, but Richie said at the back of their baseball cards say they should be playing to at least 500 baseball.
You have a team of all-stars that I think any team would be happy to have. And if they're not performing at the same time, there's not much more you can point the finger at. Yeah, the organization doesn't help, but these players need to start performing. All right, let's toss to the core curriculum. Core, hit us up with our first question.
Yeah, so this one, both of these questions date back to April, but this one regarding Pete Alonso on April 21st, he hit his 10th home run of the season, becoming the fourth player since 2012 to record 10 homers, 10 walks, and 20 RBIs in his team's first 21 games. Can you name the other three players? Before anyone guesses, I will not be just booting people off the show right off the bat. So there'll be multiple guesses before you guys can't guess anymore.
What do we got? 3 strikes, you're out policy here, Core?
I'm being generous. I think we just let them go.
All right. So 3 players. Now, these are 3 players on the Mets.
These are not. This is just 3 players in the last 10 years that have been in the majors.
Okay.
I mean, you want to just say, I'm not saying it. You want to just say Judge last year, right? But I just feel like, I don't know if he got that's, yeah, you just got to get, yeah, I'm not saying it either. It just, it needs someone who got out to an incredibly hot start.
Well, I'm going to go, I'll start it off with Giancarlo Stanton.
That is not correct.
Is one John Buck?
John Buck, no.
He did have that one good
I
year,
know
though. I know which
he
one
had
you're
like
talking
10
about,
home
Chuck.
runs for the Mets in April once.
It was a crazy stretch. Yep, I remember.
Yeah,
that.
So did Neil Walker, but I will also say Neil Walker is not on this list.
Are these
Oh,
well-known
man.
guys?
Are these who?
Well-known guys.
Yes.
Michael Trout.
Josh Donaldson.
No. Nope. I will. Let me give you guys a hint. 2 of the 3 players are MVP. Have won MVPs. One MVP was the year before accomplishing this feat, and the other won the MVP the year he did this.
Oh,
Ryan Braun.
No.
Miguel Cabrera.
Miguel Cabrera.
No.
Wow, we
Albert
both.
Pujols.
All 3 players have only played for National League teams.
National League team.
Goldschmidt.
Nope.
Chris Bryant.
Nope.
Jeez, run out of MVPs.
Freddie Freeman.
Nope.
Troy.
Cody Bellinger.
Here's another hint.
Jeez.
One of the players to do this didn't do this in the year you would have expected him to.
One of the players did this in the year you wouldn't expect him to. So
Bryce
somebody
Harper.
who was probably washed. Bryce Harper.
I think we've
No
named
one
half
Bryce
the
Harper
NL
there,
MVPs.
One player is retired, 2 are still active.
One is
Players
retired.
retired too.
No Harper.
No Harper.
No Harper. One's retired.
You could argue the one that's retired should have won an MVP, but he never won the MVP.
Was it Christian Yelich?
Christian Yelich is an answer. He did this in 2019.
Oh,
Point
point to
forward.
Kohler.
Brewers and Marlins.
I'm gonna go Matt Kemp.
Matt
Ooh, I
Kemp
like the
is
Wow.
the
That's a
other.
good
It's the
guess.
first player to do this. He did that in 2012. You would have
That's a
thought
good
he would have
guess.
done it in 2011.
So that's the old
Yes,
one.
absolutely. Because Kemp had that. It was that Kemp Braun 2011 year that was all weird. Oh man, I'm not looking in the chat. I'm gonna register points in the
I
chat.
don't see any correct answers in the chat.
I'm trying to
Okay.
look at like
So
random.
we got
No
we
point
got
for
the
the chat.
2 MVPs, right? And so we got one
Yeah.
guy who
So,
should
yep.
be
Kemp.
MVP.
And
The
Kemp's
one
retired.
player that's left has won a Rookie of the Year.
a rookie
And
of
he's
the year.
Is it also Pete Alonso?
Can't do it twice.
I'm taking.
I mean, you,
guess
you
you could,
can.
but it's
It's
not
2
him.
different years. I
Yeah,
don't
that's
know.
true. You could.
Could have been a little tricky.
Rookie
You can't do it twice.
year.
Rookie of the year.
This is a National League Rookie of the Year. Only played in the NL. This is a good question.
And it wasn't Cody Bellinger.
It is Cody Bellinger.
Oh, I
Rich
guessed
did-
it earlier. Oh,
Yeah, Rich did say Cody earlier.
No, I didn't hear him.
I get the point. I got 2. Let's
There you
go.
go.
There you go. Good stuff.
All right.
That was a good, I
Yeah,
like that
got
Bellinger
my
question.
shot. that
both
one. I
did
know.
it in 2019.
That was a fun question. I like that.
Dodgers.
2 Dodgers I got in there too.
I,
Kemp and
I was
Bellinger.
going to guess Troy Tulowitzki, but I didn't know if he won a Rookie of the Year.
He also was an
Now I know
NL
Corey,
guy.
you're not done.
Yeah,
We got another one.
yeah.
Part of the. Well, he's starting the NL, but yeah.
Core, what's our second question?
All right. So
Mm.
also in April, Brandon Nimmo became the 4th player in Mets history to collect 5 hits in a single game for the 2nd time in his career. Who are the other 3 players that have achieved this? This
Gary
is a
Carter.
specific question.
I'm gonna say Jose Reyes is one.
You would think so.
No.
No.
I know the Gary Carter as
Gary
well.
Carter? No.
No.
Ed Kranepool.
Just 'cause that-
Well, no.
Edgardo Alfonso.
No.
I love saying his name, so I'll say it anytime.
Strawberry?
No. Was teammates with 2 of these guys, actually.
Ron Swoboda.
No.
Is it
Rusty Staub.
Conforto.
Rusty Staub. That's a hell of a guess. Yeah. I didn't think you guys would get that one.
Let's go.
Wow.
Nice. Good
Wrong favorite
guess.
player.
We get
is one McNeil?
No.
Now you said
no
Nimmo.
one Conforto?
No one Conforto.
Did you say Nimmo played with 2 of the other players, or was it someone else who played with the 2
No.
other players?
That one of the guesses was Strawberry, and Strawberry had played
Gotcha.
with 2 of these
Keith
guys.
Hernandez.
One of them being Rusty Staub.
Okay.
Keith Hernandez.
Yes, Keith Hernandez.
Keith.
Nice.
That was so casual, Tom. So Keith
All right,
Hernandez.
so the two Yankee fans got Mets guesses here. All right.
Is it Mookie Wilson?
Oh, we have another one still.
Yeah, there's still one
Nope,
more.
there's one more.
Cleon
Carlos
Jones.
Delgado.
No. Let me see if I
No,
have,
he would have played with the other two, right?
John Olerud.
nope.
Olerud.
It goes without saying, all three of these guys are in the Mets Hall of Fame. All of them
Hubie
have
Brooks.
experience at first base.
Willie Mays.
All of them have experience at first base. Mike Jacobs. No, he's not in the Mets.
So you're telling me it's not Jason Phillips?
Nope.
First base.
Tell me it's not Jason Bay.
It's
No,
not
he's not
Jason
first
Bay.
base.
I mean, this is
Mets Hall of Fame. I
You
feel
do see the
about it.
answer. I do see the answer in the chat. I'm just saying that right now.
So it's Mike Piazza.
So Joe is looking in the chat. That's correct.
Yeah. I saw the chat.
Wow.
But that
Well,
point goes
I don't
to
think,
the chat.
but nobody got the point there because there was three different correct answers, right?
That's
Tom
a
got
guess.
one, I got one, Joe got one.
That's a guess.
So,
I won't take the credit for that one.
Well, then did
so
no
I
one
win because
because you didn't get all the home run guys though.
I got two.
That doesn't mean you didn't get all of them though.
I got 2 of 3. Corey, this is your game.
I say
Rick
Rich,
got the most right. He
gets
gets
the
the
points.
point, and the guest
Can-
gets.
Can I
Well, how about
just
this?
say
How
some
would we
stats I
distribute
found
points
on
based
Rusty
on?
Staub?
Sure.
We gotta
I
just.
found-
How about this? We're doing this segment and we're doing it live here, but everybody who got a correct answer gets a point towards the standings. How does that sound?
That's fine.
Is that better? All right,
Fine.
so we'll figure out the math after the fact. Sorry, Corey Fabs. All right, so
Can I just
we got
give you
plenty-
guys the couple stats I found on Rusty Staub because Rich somehow gave that as the first answer over Keith
my
Hernandez.
mom's favorite player of all time. But yeah, go for it.
So he is 1 out of 4 players in MLB history to hit a home run as a teenager and after the age of 40, joining the likes of A-Rod, Ty Cobb, and Gary Sheffield. He also has 1 home run in all 23 years he played in the majors, trailing only Ricky Henderson, who did it for 25 seasons, and Ty Cobb for 24 seasons. And in 1983, he set the current record for most pinch hits in a single season with 8, and also tied the current record for most pinch hit RBIs in a season with 25.
Wow, that's a Mets Hall of Famer. Why is he not a Hall of Famer? That's pretty impressive. Line
Almost
right
hit
there.
3,000. Almost had 3,000 hits too for his career.
But yeah, Rusty Staub is probably one of the only oldest Mets I would probably guess there. It is my mom's favorite. She loved Rusty Staub and Ron Swoboda. Those were my 2 guesses that I had. So I had to throw it back. But Core, thank you so much for joining us again for Core Curriculum. We'll see you in another month with some more questions, man.
Sounds good.
All right, take care,
Thank you,
bud.
sir.
All righty. Core Curriculum. Make sure to give him a follow on Instagram @_core, on Twitter @core_. Really simple, right? And speaking of Instagram, make sure to give us some love at Empire State of Baseball, at Khoury Fast for Corey, at JR Pugs for Joe, at Rich J. Rivera, that's me, and at T Wospil. Tom, you look confused. What's wrong with you, Tom?
I was just looking at something in the script that doesn't make sense, but
Nothing makes sense in the script. All right, we'll figure it out later after the show.
Not supposed to know
But-
it's scripted, man.
well, it is
no one's
scripted. Yeah, I mean, but listen, like it only makes sense that the writers would be on strike to see the kind of scripted stuff that Joe would put out himself. It's unbelievable.
All right, so what are you calling out? Since we're calling it out right now,
You
what
said
are you
Memorial
seeing on
in the
this
script. It
thing?
says Memorial Day is June 5th and Memorial Day is June 29th.
No.
No, June 5th
Because
would be the next episode after Memorial Day.
Well, it's a little unclear.
You had it
You're
right
not the
there,
one
Joe,
to break
because
it.
It's a little unclear.
Huh?
It's fine.
yes, Joe, you had it right. Thank you for being able to read. Episode number 47 will be next Monday, May 22nd. And our next episode, which is number 48, will not be on Memorial Day because we're going to be taking off, as should everybody, and enjoy that Memorial Day Monday and Memorial Day week. We will be back here for Monday, June 5th. at 8 p.m.
Wow,
Eastern
so
time.
whole,
Episode
well, I
number
wasn't here when we
40.
voted. We're taking a whole week off. What if I wanted to show up day after Memorial Day?
And it would have been a solo show. It would have been just
I
the
think it
Tom
would get
show.
better ratings. I think it'd be a better show, frankly. Just
All right,
without
Empire
Joe.
State of Tom.
Well,
Who's
no,
coming
if it
out
was
for
just like,
Empire State
a trifecta.
Empire State of Tom. Anybody coming out for that? I want to see your comments in the chat. But that is that. All righty. Gentlemen, ladies, we'll see you here next Monday for another edition of Empire State of Baseball. Let's take it around the room first, though. Tom, any final words of wisdom?
Just, we are coming off Mother's Day. I want to wish happy Mother's Day to the moms out there, my wife being a new mom. So happy Mother's Day to her and to just moms in general.
Yeah, I'll echo Tom's happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. New, old, otherwise those not with us anymore. Every mother should be remembered and celebrated.
I echo those fine words by these fine gentlemen, but I also hope that the Mets wake up before I put bleach in my eyes.
Some people pay to do that.
You're right. I saw that clip.
I really hope Mama Favs does not allow that action to happen.
Oh,
Again, another happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. We love all of you. We appreciate you all for what you do. Love you, Mom. And I love all you guys for jumping in again for another great edition of Empire State of Baseball. Hectic edition of the ESP. We had a lot going on. A lot of roasting of the New York team, some good praising of the Yanks side, some great questions from Core. Thank you very much, Core, for jumping in again. Shout out to Chooch for another Chooch's pick of the week. Looking forward to seeing if Matt's going to pull out his first win of the season. So let's find out in the next few days if he's going to get the pick right. We're going to find out. Big match of Rangers-Braves. But the Yankees-Blue Jays continue their series. Mets begin a 3-game set against the Rays. So let's go, Mets. Let's go, Mets. Let's go, Mets. Let's go, Mets.
You're asking for a lot.
Take care, everybody.